how I remember that fateful July 7th morning when I went in to see my doctor, Dr. David Krieger, at UCLA's gastroenterology. I was having problems with some side effects of the medication, and so I went there to see my doctor unexpectedly. That's when I was told that Dr. David Krieger had retired. He retired, giving his staff only a 2-day notice, and he didn't tell any of his patients, or at least not this patient, that he had retired. And so I said, well, assuredly, he left me in the care of some other doctor. And they said, nope, he did not. And I said, well, then maybe you, Dr. Michael Quon, had entered into the office at that point in time. And I said, maybe you'll become my doctor. You're his associate. Assuredly, you're not going to let one of his patients be stranded in the middle of a regimen. And he said, nope, we're not taking, we, the associates, are not taking any of Dr. Krieger's patients. And I said, well, with that, you leave me no choice but to seek legal help, because this is wrong. He said, well, wait a minute, you don't have to go to that length. He requested my file be brought to him and directed me and my friend back into the back office, where he stated, looking through the paperwork, it gets to the blood lab, the very blood lab that I had already gone over with Dr. Krieger, when Dr. Krieger told me, well, you're 4 months done. If 6 months had transpired from this time and you had finished the regimen, we could say you're cured. But Dr. Quon, when he saw me on that fateful day of July 7th, I was only 4 months into a 6-month drug regimen. I had 2 more months to go. And he said, looking at the same blood lab, you're already cured. You don't need any more medication. He broke the very regimen that Dr. Krieger had over and over and over repeatedly told me that I must take the full 6 months. No matter what, take the full 6 months. Don't let anything disrupt that 6-month regimen and you'll be cured. A 96% cure rate touted by the manufacturer of the drug. I said, Dr. Quon, you're telling me that I'm cured. It's only been a day and a half since I've taken the medication. How can you say cured? It's supposed to be 6 months transpired since a completed regimen. He said, well, it's right here. You're cured. You don't need the medication anymore. I'm not going to authorize you to go back on it. You're done. He ordered another blood lab and for me to come back in 30 days. I took the blood lab 2 weeks later and returned to Dr. Quon August 8th, where he told me again, reiterated, see, I told you were cured. No reason to file a lawsuit. You're done. You should be a happy camper. Happy camper, my ass. I had lost a family over this because the side effects were so hard, and Dr. Krieger had not forewarned us of any side effects. Dr. Quon breaking my regimen for no good reason at all. I was committed to the regimen. After all, a good friend of mine and someone dear that I loved and cared about had paid $15,000 of her own money to afford me an opportunity of a cure, giving up the first home she would have ever resided in that had been paid for, living in an apartment all her life, or rented homes. 10 years of knowing her, she gave up and sacrificed a home for me. I was committed to taking that regimen hell or high water. Dr. Quon did not put me back on it. August 8th, he told me again I was cured, sent me home, and what am I to believe? My first doctor retired, my second doctor tells me I'm cured. I was left with no choice but to follow my attending doctor, Dr. Quon. In November, I got retested. I found out that my hepatitis C virus had come back. Only now, if I took the regimen again, a very difficult regimen for me, I'd only have a 20% chance of cure because my virus would have become immune to it. Dr. Quon knew what he had done. But when I called the Department of Medicine, the Board of Medicine for California, and reported him, he lied to them and told me that he had not given me instructions to stop taking the medication, that I had taken the complete course, and that I was cured. That's what he told them the first time. They responded with that back, and I brought to their attention several factors. They reopened the case, and again they closed the case, citing factors, to which I fired back responses to them and the reasoning for closing the case. And they agreed with me. They reopened the case. Dr. Quon has me 3 different scenarios finishing the regimen in its entirety and being cured, to only taking the medicine for 21.5 weeks, to never telling me that I was cured, to having me only take the medicine for 16.5 weeks of 24 weeks. Dr. Quon's lied to them, and then he's trying to cover up the fact that he's lied and the fact that he told me that I was cured, and that's why he wasn't authorizing me back on the medication. Dr. Krieger had told me point blank, you are going to be cured, just maintain the last 2 months, and then he retires, with leaving me nowhere to go, except to an associate of his that takes me on as a patient and then does everything but be my doctor. Instead, he tried to get rid of me as quickly as possible, and he did so effectively the very first meeting that we saw him. He was not authorizing me to complete the regimen because I was already cured. Dr. Quon, CVS Pharmacy called for Dr. Krieger on a fateful day and asked if Dr. Krieger was going to refill the last months of my regimen. And he was informed, the guy from CVS was informed, the representative was informed that Dr. Krieger was no longer there, he had retired, and that you were my new attending doctor. You then got on the phone and explained to CVS Special Care, the pharmacist, the person representing the CVS, asking you, are you authorizing this last 6 months of ribavirin? And you said the patient, James Hawkins, would not be needing the medication anymore. You didn't give a reason why, but you would not authorize that medication. Yet you told the department, the Board of Medicine of California, that you in no way gave me instructions not to finish the regimen. If that were the case, then why wouldn't you authorize the last 6 months? The last 6th month of the regimen I was never given. So Dr. Quon, I ask you, are you really wanting to take this to court? Because all the damaging is there. It's going to make you look as bad as you should look. You were upset at Dr. Krieger for retiring on you and not giving the staff nor his associates any heads up about it. You were mad at Dr. Krieger for leaving you guys with all these patients coming in asking, where's Dr. Krieger? Where's my doctor? Well, you took me on as a patient and then you abandoned me as a patient. Dr. Krieger had told me I was on my way to a cure, but for no reason stopped the regimen. You stopped the regimen. You knew that he had prescribed it for 6 months, yet you stopped the regimen and cited nothing. When I reviewed my own medical records, I saw that it was a copy and paste, nothing more, the entire way from Krieger to you. Both you doctors are guilty of medical malpractice. But you, Dr. Quon, are the one who's guilty for breaking my regimen. And Mike, I don't know why, but I think it's time for you to just admit to the fact that you were upset with Dr. Krieger. You were upset at the fact that you already had a burgeoning caseload of patients and you didn't need another patient and want another patient, and then you disbanded me as a patient and cut me off. That was the last chance I was afforded for any kind of a cure for Hep C. You guaranteed my fate to death, and for that you're being sued. Now, I'm offering you one chance of settlement. You should take me up on my offer, Michael. Dr. Quon, do the right thing. Come clean. Admit that you did wrong, and let's move on. I have to move on to a coffin. You get to move on to the next patient. It doesn't seem fair, does it, Mike? That's James Hawkins, the truth about what happened on my drug regimen of Sovaldium ribavirin, and Dr. Michael Quon's act of medical malpractice. How egregious was that?